What's going on, everybody? What's going on? It is Wednesday, November 27th, 2024, and we are back with another live here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Shout out to every single person that is here in the chat, and also shout out to those who are subscribed to, well, members of the channel. Shout out those who are subscribed to the Patreon, those who follow me on Instagram, those who are in the Discord and on Twitter. So this was the stream right here that I said, I said, if y'all thought what I talked about with Lake and Riley was something, wait until you see this. Before we go ahead and get into everything, excuse me, let me give acknowledgement to those who are here or who have left a comment in the chat already. We got Walter, Hacksign KT, Andre, Derry B, Wallow J, Dimpleface, Irving Green, Miss Nisi, Reparations Nations, Brother Men to You, Lady Messenger, DSA1, RBJ, Chi Chi, Matthew, Don, and Don P. Shout out to each and every person that is here so far. So I have a couple, literally like 2 articles to go through, and everything else is going to come straight off of X. And OK Gravity just popped up in here as well. So as you can see by the title, it says the deluded reason Daniel Penny supporters want him to walk. And what prompted me to do this stream was based off of a response to one of the articles that I'm going to actually go over, and the influx of salty tears that literally could have caused a flood in my thread or in my comments under that one post. I think out of everybody that reposted that and had something to say, I think mine's had the most engagement. I don't know what it is that I could have said that could have triggered them this way, but y'all about to find out this evening. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give y'all some updates to the trial as follows right now. So this right here that I'm about to read from, which was posted on November 25th, 2024, 2 days ago, is the most recent update in the Daniel Penny trial, and is basically saying that they're getting ready to do closing arguments. And based on what I've read, they're going to do closing arguments after Thanksgiving, which is tomorrow, when they'll reconvene on Friday. Because I believe the defense has rest, which of course you know that's Daniel Penny's team. It says the case of Daniel Penny, the former Marine accused of choking a man to death on a New York City subway, will move to closing arguments next week after a judge refused to dismiss charges against the defendant on Monday. So it's going to be this upcoming week when they're going to do it. Penny appeared in court for several hours as attorneys argued before a judge what would be included in jury instructions after the Thanksgiving holiday. After the judge overruled the Penny's attorney's motion for dismissal, they argued very specific points of the case, and that what will be part of the judge's instructions for the jury. Penny is accused in the death of Jordan Neely, to whom prosecutors argue Penny applied a deadly chokehold. Attorneys for Penny argue that their client was not trying to kill Neely, but rather restrain him after witnesses claimed Neely was acting erratically. The defense rested Friday after electing not to have Penny testify in his own defense, because they knew if he got up on that stand, that probably would have ruined them even more than they are now. The prosecution has focused throughout the trial on the chokehold that Penny allegedly applied to Neely. The medical examiner testified that the pressure applied to Neely caused his death. In response, a quote-unquote defense expert, and we're going to get into that because that's another reason why I'm doing this stream this evening, testified Neely's death was caused by a combination of factors, including schizophrenia, sickle cell anemia, and a presence of a synthetic drug. The case is set to resume on December 2nd when closing arguments begin before it is handed over to the jury for deliberations. So that is one of the trial updates right there. They're just saying that closing arguments is coming next week on December the 2nd. We're going to keep a close eye on that and see what the outcome of that is going to be. So now what we're going to do now is move on to the main article that literally kicked off this firestorm in my comments when I reposted it and said what I said. So this is coming from the New York Post. It was posted on November 21st, 2024. It says Jordan Neely's cause of death wasn't Daniel Penny's chokehold, but a combined effects, quote, of drugs, struggle, and schizophrenia, according to a quote-unquote defense expert. Let me just preface this right now. If none of you have read this article before I'm reading it now, just let me assure you it's a load of crap. Every single thing the so-called defense expert is going to say doesn't make a lick of sense. Just letting you know. But some of y'all already know that. Daniel Penny's chokehold of Jordan Neely isn't what killed the homeless man. He died from, quote, combined effects of synthetic marijuana, schizophrenia, and other factors, according to the defense's medical expert Thursday. Of course, this so-called medical expert for them is going to sit up there and say that it wasn't from that, and they're saying it's from all of these things. All I'm going to say is this. If something like this happens in the future, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind in the future if something like this was to happen again, but happen against one of them. It wasn't the chokehold that did it. It was the schizophrenia, the synthetic marijuana, and other factors. Dr. Satish Chandru, peep the name, y'all. That name sounds very Indianish, sounds very like Nimrata, Randhawa, sounds very like ramen noodles and Kamala Harris-ish. A forensic pathologist based in Texas told jurors in Manhattan Supreme Court, and you can throw Dinesh in there as well, that Neely's autopsy records and video of the fatal F-train altercation in May 2023 didn't show signs typical of known chokehold deaths. In your opinion, did Mr. Penny choke Mr. Neely to death? Penny's attorney, Stephen Risers asked. No, replied Chandru. The chokehold did not cause death. Chandru, who said he has worked as a medical examiner for county governments in Florida and Texas, ruled out two medically recognized chokeholds, the air choke and the blood choke, because he believed Neely, age 30, died of other causes. Exactly, Wallow J. They're going the George Floyd route. And I'm glad you said that, because when we go through these comments, you're going to notice something there. He also pointed out what he said were discrepancies in Neely's medical records, specifically bruising on the homeless man's neck, and how there was, quote, almost negligible petchia. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that word. Cosma, if you're in the chat, you got to help me out with that word. Tiny spots of bleeding found on his eyelids that Chandru claimed were inconsistent with the fatal chokehold. Instead, Chandru, who dubs himself the, quote, forensic doc on his website, said that Neely died by the combined effects of sickle cell crisis, the schizophrenia, the struggle and restraint, and the synthetic marijuana. And by the way, y'all, this is a picture of the doctor. This is him right here. Chandru claimed that schizophrenia carries a, quote, increased risk of sudden cardiac death. He also testified that he'd seen deaths caused by K2 toxicity alone. Neely, a former Michael Jackson impersonator with a history of mental illness and drug abuse, had the synthetic marijuana in his system at the time of his death, trial evidence has shown. The findings from Chandru, who was called by Penny's defense attorneys, were far different from those of the city medical examiner, who stood by her ruling that Neely's death was caused by asphyxiation as a result of the former Marine's chokehold. Dr. Cynthia Harris, who performed the autopsy, said video of the fatal encounter convincingly showed the chokehold was his cause of death, that she wouldn't change her ruling, even if it turned out Neely had enough drugs in his body to, quote, put down an elephant. And here's the thing. Let's hypothetically say that Jordan Neely did have these drugs in his system. If he was to die from the drugs in his system, he would have been dead before the chokehold was even applied. Same thing with George Floyd. He would have just fell out right there on the street from an overdose. But let the usual suspects tell it, and they will tell it as when we go through these comments. It was not the chokehold that did it. It was a bunch of other factors. Harris testified earlier this week that she and the other doctors at the office of the chief medical examiner, including the chief, believed that Neely's death was caused by asphyxia consistent with being choked, after seeing a journalist's videos of the homeless man dying with Penny's arms wrapped around his neck. Chandru was pressed Thursday by the Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Daphne Yorna about his claim regarding the, and I think Cosma just put the pronunciation in the chat. He says called Petrichia on Neely's eyelids, and eventually conceded that other medical professionals, including his mentor, did find that such symptoms were consistent with death by asphyxiation. The prosecutor also grilled Chandru about whether the darker color of Neely's face compared to his arms proved that blood wasn't flowing to his head because his arteries and veins were being blocked as a result of the chokehold. Yoren pointed to the bystander video where Neely's face is darker than the rest of his skin as veins protrude from his forehead, and asked Chandru what he made of that. He said one suggestion is that he has some blockage. Another suggestion is that he has a suntan. What? Did this dude actually just say that? Let me read that again. He said one suggestion is that he has some blockage. Another suggestion is that he has a suntan.
Listen. Fuck up. Get out.
A suntan? Now, here's the picture right here that they're talking about. And you can definitely clearly see that Jordan Neely's face is darker than his arms. A suntan? If he had a suntan wearing what he has on, the suntan would have been on his arms as well. It's not like he was covered, it's not like he had long sleeves on, and the only thing exposed was his face. And Cosmo had to correct himself. He said it's Petechiah. Okay, Petechiah. Okay. Chandru's cross-examination will continue Friday with closing arguments in the lightning rod trial expected for December 2nd. Several eyewitnesses have testified that Neely, who was unarmed, was threatening passengers on the train during the May 1st, 2023 encounter, but had not touched anyone before Penny took him down to the subway floor and held him in the chokehold. Penny's lawyers have said he acted to protect other strap hangers and shouldn't be held criminally liable for Neely's death. Prosecutors say Penny knew his actions could be deadly and continued with them anyway. Penny, age 26, is charged with second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. He faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted on the top charge. That's a new one, a suntan. A suntan. And keywords there, dimple face, up to 15 years. It didn't say he would get 15 years on the top charge. It said up to, which means it's not going to surpass 15 years, but it can be lower than 15 years. And they said on the top charge, which I believe is let me scroll down here again, is the second degree manslaughter. That's the top charge. And the criminally negligent homicide is the secondary charge. Brother Mentor, you said, how many years did the police get for Joe? Well, Derek Chauvin got 22 and a half years. The others got like a year or 2 years. So there's that right there. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. I just wanted to go over the updates of the trial. Now we can get into the good stuff, which y'all came here to see. And that's these. I mean, they literally practically was having a whole Klan rally in my comment thread when I made this post. But first, I'm going to go over this one. And this one is recent. So this is me letting people know on X that I'm going live and what I'm going to be talking about. So as you can see right here, it was posted up November 27th today at 5:45 p.m., which was, of course, clearly less than an hour ago. I said in this stream, I will go over the updates from the Daniel Penny trial, as well as go over a post I made pertaining to Daniel Penny and why his supporters want him to walk. I got 7 likes, 4 reposts, and 1 comment. The 1 comment came from this person named Deep Right Oprah, who has a black and white picture up of Mel Gibson, and they asked me simply, are you effing retarded? That's what they asked me in the comment. Now, this is not the post that I'm talking about right here. This was today, a few minutes ago, when I was just putting up here what I was going to be talking about. And I bet you they're probably remnants of the post that I made that I'm about to go over shortly. That was the only response they had to me was I effing you know what. Oh, trust me, Craig, you haven't seen nothing yet. This is not even the tip of the iceberg of what you're about to see. Because I'm going to go over as much as I can from the one post that I made. So let's get into it, y'all. The reason why we are all here. So this is the post right here. Of course, we already read the New York Post recently. That's what I just went over. But look at what I wrote. I said, looking at this comment section and how many times George Floyd is brought up, I see now more than ever that the only reason they want Daniel Penny to walk is because Derek Chauvin didn't. So they see this as quote unquote payback for that L that they took 2 years ago. This was the post right here. And man, when I tell you, look at this, 152 comments, 265 reposts, over 1,000 likes, and 85 bookmarks. And it was posted November 23rd, 2024 at 7:09 p.m. It is the 27th now, 4 days later, and they're still congregating under it. Now, before I actually go into those posts, I'm going to go and show y'all the quoted posts because they were no better than the ones under the actual post itself. So let's look at this Lou Perez person right here. No, it's because Jordan Neely was a violent POS and Daniel Penny is a hero. Y'all going to see that quite a bit. The world would be a better place with more Daniel Pennies and fewer Jordan Neelys and whoever you are. So basically, this Lou Perez person is saying I should go join Jordan Neely. He's saying the world would be a whole lot better without me in it. Someone says, right inputs, wrong conclusion. More likely the reason Floyd is brought up is because of the analogous situation in which the victim died, resulting primarily from a drug overdose. And identity politics reframed it as a deletion. Someone says, blacks want to make it life in prison for not letting them harass you. Another person says, people that think like this guy, hello, my name is this guy. Right here are some of the worst that society has to offer. Someone, let's see. This one says, your kind right now literally destroys everything and was held to no standard nor responsibility. When so rarely the justice has been served, you monkeys cry like the animal you are, stating this is quote unquote payback. And you know what? All the white people are currently paying back with their lives and culture simply because they imported some remedial N-words to pick the effing cotton. You know why more than half of other minorities other than N-words voted for Trump? Because everyone, mostly immigrants who unfortunately lives near N-words, got randomly punched in the face or stabbed in the belly or shot in the chest unprovoked. Keep practicing your victim mentality. Again, all from that post right there. And I'm telling you right now, it's about to get even more interesting because we got a whole bunch of comments to go through. Those were just the quoted comments. It was only like 6 of those. Remember, it's 152 comments under here. So let's get through it. Oh, let me start with this woman right here. This Anna Morata, whatever how you pronounce this woman, and the one that got a whole bunch of flags here. He said, yeah, it's also quote unquote payback for letting O.J. Simpson roam the earth freely after murdering 2 human beings. Why in the world did you bring up O.J. Simpson? What does O.J. Simpson got to do with this? This woman brought up O.J. Simpson and said it's payback because O.J. Simpson was able to freely roam the earth. What? I replied with, he was found not guilty. Stop spreading misinformation. It ages you more than nature already has. And then she says, oh, I'm hurt. You meanie. And then I say, then I did my job. Yay me. Someone else says, you still care about OJ? You must be miserable as hell. And this other person says, let's talk about how that Neanderthal got Emmett Till killed. Oh. And then there was a whole bunch of other people that went in on her. And the thing is, she probably would have had a whole lot of people agreeing with what she said if she kept it on Daniel Penny, but she brought up OJ. So there was that post right there. So this person right here named Shady JD with Trump's mugshot on there said what I said and called it a hood rat take. They called it a hood rat take. I said a gutter rat committed this crime and his sheep-like followers are gutter garbage. Someone else says, had he done nothing and the guy hurt the woman with a stroller, you'd still criticize him standing there. I says, just say you're glad Jordan is dead and how Daniel is a hero. Get it out of your system like 90% of that comment section. And this person decided to jump right on and says, I'm glad Jordan is dead. And I said, there's the honesty. Now, here's some honesty from me. The feeling is mutual for Ashley Babbitt. Oh, I was cutting up in these comments. Usually I would just let it flow and let's let it go. After a while, I kind of did because it got redundant after a while. It's like it almost felt like I was talking to the same person over and over again. Someone says, I don't know who that is and don't give a ish. I'm glad Floyd is dead too. I'd spit on his grave. Then someone said they was already going to do that. No, it was somebody that said I would bring him back. No, it was Ryan Garcia said I would bring him back to live just to take him out again. That was Ryan Garcia that said that. Then this person says a hero. I wouldn't go that far. He tried helping what seemed like a guy attacking a woman. And no, I'm not glad he died. See, this is how you know these individuals did not read this case. They go off. This is the Fox News crowd, y'all. This is the Fox News crowd right here. Someone else said, I'm glad Jordan is dead. And Daniel said, you see what I did? I literally baited them into saying it. I said, just say that you're glad Jordan is dead and how Daniel is a hero. And like 5 people literally came back and said, I'm glad he's dead and that Daniel Penny is a hero. I literally baited them into doing it, and they did it like some dummies. Someone says, knock that chip off your shoulder, dude. Life is too short. Someone says, am I glad a violent drug addict that was a danger to society is dead? Excuse me. Of course I am, because I'm not a monster. Now, this one really told me how they felt. I'm very glad that worthless N-word, and they use the hard ER, is dead. Someone says, I'm glad that degenerate piece of ish Jordan is dead and the world needs more heroes like Penny. Daniel is a hero, and so is Derek Chauvin, who received several commendations as a police officer before being politically persecuted. Let's see here. This person says eventually Derek Chauvin will be released and exonerated, and those who persecuted him will take his place in prison. Justice always wins in the end. And then I replied with, keep telling yourself that. This person right here. Again, notice all these people, they have these blue checks and they talk a certain way, but they never have their profile pictures. This person got a picture of RK up here. Someone says, you are just a massive dumb A. Penny has no intention of killing Neely and was only attempting to protect the other people on that subway. It's sad that Neely died. Let's be real here. Y'all not sad about that man dying. And it's sad that New York is going after the hero in the story. What isn't sad, but is incredibly stupid, is it's people like you. And shout out to this person right here. Someone says, no one said that Penny intended to kill Neely. That's why he isn't charged with murder. Exactly. Notice murder is not there. It's negligence and second degree, and I think like second degree manslaughter. That's how you know they did not read this case. They didn't follow it. They only went off of, again, the same thing that they tell us to stop doing, and that's dabbling in identity politics. And that's exactly what they did all through this case. Since it happened last year, that's all they've been doing. And they can't say that they haven't. They'll tell you they haven't, but they have. Someone says Floyd died of an overdose. They said both should walk. Neither killed their quote-unquote victims. This one says Torian, he didn't mean to kill him, and this is not about race. It was an awful situation, and no one is glad he died. Amy Ray, you may need to scroll back up and look through the comments under the first post that someone replied with. I don't think people realize the crimes that are happening in NYC. It's bad here, and the mentally ill are left to walk the streets and harm New Yorkers. Just the other day, a disturbed man was slashing people. You want people to think he was targeted because of his color. That is not so. Someone says, sorry, remedial criminals effing around deserve all the effing. They couldn't even get spelled effing right. They put finding way. Deserve all the finding out they accomplish. Why can't black people just behave? Stop bringing race into it and look at personal accountability. If you only look skin deep, then that's how shallow your thinking is. This isn't a tit for tat W versus L situation. I don't win if Chauvin is found not guilty, and you don't win if Penny is convicted. That is a ridiculous way to approach life. Someone else said it is because he is innocent. Any other opinions are delusional. Someone else says you're why no one takes your people seriously. Someone said, they said, let's see here. Someone else says, I think we should focus on the real positive points of this. There are now 2 criminals that will never hurt anyone again. Someone says the reason they want him to walk is because he should walk. He was defending somebody from a psycho. Someone says you can't draw a parallel between George Floyd and every single thing that happens in this world. The 2 situations have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Well, Bud Fox, stop bringing up George Floyd every chance y'all get, because that's exactly what they did in the comment section. It's like, how in the world did y'all just bypass what the people was writing in the comment section when they brought up George Floyd and came right to my post when I brought up the same thing that they were saying in that comment section before I even got a hold of it? But you want to come over and quote unquote chastise me. Then, of course, there was some people in there that was agreeing with what I was saying, but that was a minority, like a small minority. And I'll give you another one. I told KG I wasn't going to speak on this, but he has sent me. Well, he didn't send me. Or did he send me? I can't remember if he did. You know what? He probably did. There was a post that someone made online where they're still trying to get the cop that took out Ashley Babbitt. They're still on the kick of that this black cop killed her or murdered her. They're still on that, even though we all saw the video of her breaking into the Capitol. Again, they can never take that L. If it's a black person involved, if the black person comes out on top, they can't take the L. If the black person dies, they still can't take it unless the white person gets off. Then they'll be ready to move on. I can imagine if George Zimmerman was convicted for killing Trayvon Martin, to this day, they would still be talking about George Zimmerman. If all the cops got rightfully convicted for what they did to Breonna Taylor, they would still be talking about them to this day. The only reason they don't bring up the McMichaels, well, I can't use them as an example. That's an anomaly. And for the most part, the rest of the comments are people who actually made a lick of sense in the comment section. But I just wanted to go over that with y'all because I wanted y'all to see them literally come to my comment section under that post that I made a few days ago and crash out hard over what I said. But you know what they say about a hit dog hollering? This post right here, let me read it again. Looking at this comment section, I'm talking about this one, and how many times George Floyd is brought up, I see now more than ever that the only reason they want Daniel Penny to walk is because Derek Chauvin did not. So they see this as payback for that L they took 2 years ago. And the fact that they came flooding into my comments after I wrote this, that lets you know that what I said actually was based in some facts, no matter how hard they try to convince themselves that it was not. But you know what? Let me entertain the actual post itself. Let me zoom in a little bit more because I wasn't going to do it, but since we're here, why not? Daniel Penny should have never been put on trial. That is all. I can't believe this guy's facing trial. I'm over it. No. Third comment down, y'all. Third comment. No, the cause of death was a drug overdose, just like George Floyd. Daniel Penny should have never been charged. Alvin Bragg belongs in a cell on Rikers. And oh, look who it is. Valentina Gomez. They're trying to George Floyd this criminal as well. Daniel Penny is a hero and should be freed immediately. And this woman wonders why not only did she lose her election, but she caused her brother to lose his job. Someone says, but even showing it was a drug overdose, it wasn't. Didn't help Chauvin. Crooked legal system. That's because it wasn't a drug overdose, you buffoon. If the race is reversed, he's being celebrated as a hero and being handed the key to the city. So he's saying if it was Jordan Neely that did this to Daniel Penny, then Daniel Penny would not only walk, but he would get the key to the city and he would be held as a hero. This is the lopsided logic, y'all. And every last one of these people paid for that blue check, by the way. Release Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny is a hero. Set him free. Penny is a hero and he should never been brought to trial. After Penny is vindicated, it's time to free Chauvin. He was railroaded in a time nothing made sense. And wokeism, there it is, wokeism infested all the institutions to a degree never before seen in human history. I saw the entire trial. It was a setup. Free the other cops too. Well, if you would free the other cops too. If you followed anything, you would know that every last one of the cops that was involved with George Floyd, with the exception of Derek Chauvin, have been free. Where have you been? Clearly under a rock and not above it. This is free the other cops too. George Floyd did himself in. This is just like George Floyd. It wasn't the knee that killed him. It was all the fentanyl, opioids, and alcohol in his system. Floyd had an enlarged, weak heart after long-term drug abuse. Daniel Penny didn't kill Jordan Neely. So we've already read about almost 10 comments, and out of the 10, about 5 of them brought up George Floyd. It's pretty obvious. No one dies from a simple chokehold. This person actually referred to what Daniel Penny did to Jordan Neely as a simple chokehold. Penny likely saved lives with his heroic actions. For that, NYC prosecutors are ruining his life. No good Samaritan will ever act again in NYC. New Yorkers will die because of this judicial misconduct. Good, free Penny now. Can you say George Floyd? Weird. I thought I was reading a George Floyd headline. See, as you can see, so going back to what I said, when I said looking at this comment section and how many times George Floyd is brought up, we already counted like 6 of them. I see now more than ever the only reason they want Daniel Penny to walk is because Derek Chauvin didn't. So they see this as payback for that L that they took 2 years ago. I stopped reading it because I know if I kept on reading, I probably would have read George Floyd's name about maybe 10 more times within like maybe 2 minutes, not even 5. But before I drop the link, let me go ahead and acknowledge the people who contributed. Shout out to Hacksign KT for the 5. He said, B1 keep spitting facts. I appreciate it. Shout out to Samuel Bryan for the 10. He says, Torian and STNA in Ohio slapped a resident in a nursing home, but the resident didn't die and got 15 to 25 years. But Daniel Penny literally killed someone on cameras and may walk. Make that make sense. Exactly. Remember what KG has always said: the white vote will doom us all. The people that who are leaving those comments right there, you can pretty much guess who they voted for in this election. Not that it really matters, but I mean, it also still kind of matters. Now, Wallow, how are you going to say Miss Nisi is first today and you the first one to pop up in the lineup? How? But the link is right there in the chat, y'all. If anybody would like to come up, feel free to go on ahead and hit that link and come right on up. Okay, Miss Nisi is here, so I'm gonna let her go first. Hurricane Nisi, let it rip. Because I know you got something to say, because you alluded to that in Rob's chat earlier.
First of all, good evening to you, Torian, and family in the chat. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to keep my voice controlled, but don't mistake my tone. I am seeing red. The absolute retardation of white people. High IQ my ass. They gleefully and willfully show their anti-black hatred on the daily. As I have said before, may they all reap what they sow. And I will leave on this note. Fuck them all. I love you.
Love you too. Shout out to Hurricane Nisi. Oh, AW1, I just posted the link in I'll post it again. The chat was moving kind of fast. Shout out to Hurricane Nisi. Kept it short and sweet and direct and to the point as she usually does. Now we can go back and Wallow J, you were up next.
How you doing, Torian? How you doing, chat? No, I came up here first to make sure her spot was first. That's why I came up first. Leave me alone.
Okay.
But do these fools realize? Okay, let's go with the scenario. If he's found not guilty, right? You basically put a precedent in the country where it's okay to come from behind and choke somebody out, basically killing them. Imagine New York City with something like that. Imagine the crazy state of Florida. Imagine California. Imagine Chicago, Illinois. Imagine Texas and all these other states. How fucked up it would be if this man was let off and then it basically said, okay, you can go behind somebody and choke them if you want to. Like, think about that. These people don't think. They just don't think. They gotta pay for a blue check to get acknowledgement, to get attention. That is pathetic. And like, shout out to Cosmo. Cosmo basically said, with him getting choked out, his skin tone changed because of the blood flow not going to all of his body. So basically all that blood flow went straight to his head, causing his head to be darker than, the lower part of his body. Like, you saying this man died of drugs is a damn shame. It shows you how desperate you are. It didn't work with Derek Chauvin. It's not going to work here. You can't sit up here and say that this man died of drugs and this man is sitting in a chokehold for damn near 6 minutes. It was?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And he died in like 90 seconds and he held on to this man's dead body. He didn't need to do all that. That's the point everybody's saying. He did not need to do all that. If he just held him, first off, he should never touch him because, like, in New York, KG and anybody else will tell you, you don't mess with crazy people. You let them be. I see crazy people out in public where I'm at. I don't go fuck with them. I let them be where the hell they at. I let the cops deal with them. I don't even want the cops to deal with them. I let them deal with their damn self. The fuck? But it's all coming to a head. Their demise will be the fall of this country. And fuck Gummy Gomez. B1.
Shout out to Wallow J for coming up. Next up, we got Cosman. I'm glad because you are our resident, RN.
Oh, I try to be. But let me get somewhere clear for 1 second so I can talk to you guys. All right. This, I'm going to tell you. This right here, what you was trying to say, petechia, those little things, those are hemorrhages that go in the blood. When your blood and the oxygen don't flow properly, that's what starts showing up in your eyes. Those are telltale signs that you have been asphyxiated, you've been choked out. That's what that is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. That's what that was. And I've been saying this ever since this happened. Choking someone from behind and being afraid to let go is an act of cowardice. He's a Marine, for fuck's sake. Sorry, excuse my French. But they should know better than anybody that you only need a few seconds to subdue somebody and render them unconscious, why were you afraid to let go?
Exactly.
And you mentioned also Jordan. I mean, you mentioned also George Floyd, how they keep bringing him up. You see how they don't bring up Jordan Williams, right?
Right.
Right? John Williams, the black kid that defended other people on the train and his girlfriend after they all were assaulted by a crazed south of the Borderian, who he ended up stabbing one time, fatally, one time, as a defense mechanism. He didn't
Yeah, but
repeatedly, yeah.
I mean, one thing. What I did remember hearing is when that happened, because it happened around the same time as this, like shortly after it, and they were trying to make it where he should have been arrested for what he did, because what they were trying to say was what he was doing was not self-defense. See what they did? They told on themselves then.
Exactly my point. That's what they get all the time. And I concur with what you said with the post. This is like they feel this is going to be the get back. You see,
Mm-hmm.
for a group of people that's telling us to stop looking so surface level and stop saying everything isn't black and white, it damn sure is white and black to them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I swear, working in this profession, I see it all the time, man. All of that. Like, I'm not the wisest medical expert, but I know enough to know what petechia is. I found my cousin's, I found my friend's cousin she was deleted by her boyfriend. I know what petechia looks like with an iPhone cord. So don't play with me. Stop trying to play in black people's face as if we are dumb. I'm sick of this. And these cowards online are propping up another coward. I'm
Mm-hmm.
done with this nonsense. And that whole this and I've just been thinking about the whole Maryland situation. Why did you shoot at that brother? What did he do?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? Cowards? Cowards. You know what? Let me get back to work. But this is what cowardice and the badge can do. This is what it can do.
Exactly.
And then you're not a cop. You're not Frank Castle. Just like KG said in the comment section, you chose the wrong city to be the Punisher in. Marvel is a fictional world. What are you doing, bro? I know he works out in New York City, but we in the real world, my dude. Like, come on, man. All right, I'm gonna land my plane there. I'm sorry, I had to vent.
No problem. Thanks for coming up.
You're welcome.
Shout out to Cosmo for coming up. I'm glad that we have someone over here who's in the medical field that can really explain stuff like that, even though it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's nothing wrong when you get a little additional adage to there. That way it can make a little bit more sense. That way, if someone comes up to you talking crazy, you can use what you learned from our residential medical expert and use it against them. Now, whether what they do with that is entirely on them. All right, Mr. Williams, I can't bring you up because it's saying that you need to connect your mic and your cam in order for me to add you. So you might need to drop down and then come back up. I'm okay. Next up, we got Samuel. What's going on?
Hey, Torian, what's going on? B1, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, but Torian, it just shows you that I feel like that's the direction that this country is getting ready to go to in this next 4 years, because I feel like especially this new administration that's going in, it's like it seems like they advocating for like the whole vigilantism instead of like hiring qualified police officers that really want to get the job done and really want to keep people safe without trying to kill and harm somebody. And prime example is that when they chose somebody like Brandon Tatum to advocate for black police officers, and I remember I asked a black police officer, Torian, does Brandon Tatum give a appropriate an appropriate what's the word I'm looking for? Portrayal of black cops? And he said, hell no, absolutely not. Prime example, Brandon Tatum literally said every, police shooting, he probably would have handled the same way. So he said he probably would have shot Tamir Rice.
I bet he would. You know what? I'm not surprised that he said that, because look at all the police involved shootings that have occurred over the years and the stance that he takes on every last one of them. The ones that he got checked on the most probably was, or more recently, was Tyree Nichols, because he came out and said a whole bunch of BS that, like, on stuff that no one has seen yet. And then when it came out that all of that was wrong, instead of him retracting what he said, not only did he leave the video up there, but he came back and then tried to make it seem like he still wasn't wrong, but was still wrong. It made no sense. And of course, you know, when he said what he said about Uvalde, and of course that pissed a lot of people off, because now that was involving kids.
Right. And then not only that, Torian, and then about you know, that one incident where the guy ran from the cop and stuff like that in handcuffs, and the cop just shot him. And I'm thinking, like, didn't you used to be a former college football player? So you can't, so you don't have the speed, and you don't have, like, you couldn't just chase him down and this and that. And you're supposed to be a big guy. And you literally was just talking about how you wish somebody would run up on you for being a Trump supporter and doing this and doing that, because nobody's not bold enough to come check him and this and that. And I'm like, dude, get the hell up out of here. Like, just because, you know, the bigger you are, Torian, the harder you can fall. I'm not the biggest guy, Torian, but I can handle my own. I mean, that dude does not intimidate me.
Exactly.
Right, you know, and yeah, but like I said, you know, I think this situation is horrible, and I'm hoping that they don't let Daniel Penny walk. But the way things are looking, they're going to try to do everything they can to let him go. But, you know, like I said, the video is pretty much just, it shows for itself. I mean, that was murder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm going to let somebody else go on, Torian. I always love getting on here and giving my 2 cents in, and, you know, just keep putting the truth out there, man.
No problem. Thanks for coming up.
All right, peace.
Shout out to Sammy for coming up. And KG, I don't know if you're busy right now or not. I wish you could come up here, because you can explain to the people, or better explain to the people, what will happen if Daniel Penny walks, because I think you probably gave one of the better explanations as to why that's not a good thing. Why they better be careful what they ask for if they saying we want him to walk. But next we got Nightfall Drop. What's going on?
Yo, what's up, Torian? It's been forever. B1, bro. How you doing?
B1. I'm doing good.
Yeah, first off, I just want to say America is not a racist country.
let some people tell it.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out, like, how are you guys this stupid? Like, it's mind-boggling how absolutely insanely stupid these people are. Who is Daniel Penny protecting? Jordan Neely didn't have a weapon. He wasn't in anybody's face. They never said he touched anybody. Hell, and nobody actually sits up here and talks about, oh yeah, he's got the white folks disease of what is that? Mental health issues. He could have been in a mental health crisis, but you know.
Oh, listen, you already know they don't let black people have the mental health thing. They don't let them do the self-defense thing. They don't let them do the stand your ground thing. That's like they're literally telling you that it's exclusive only to them, or their select outsiders that aren't black.
Absolutely. I mean, make it make sense. And then everybody's talking about, oh, well, you know, he had drugs in the system. Well, okay, a lot of folks now are using marijuana for psychotropic drug use. Anybody ever think of that?
I already knew there was peak white privilege when you had Ethan Couch do what he did, and they said, oh, we can't get him with anything because he has affluenza. That was peak PC. That was peak PC privilege right there. I said anything else that comes after that doesn't surprise me.
If there was ever a case of I'm white and I say so, that was it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Followed closely behind by Kyle Rittenhouse, but I mean, still. But it is what it is. But yeah, white folks, let him go if you want to. It's what they call in the legal terms setting a precedent. Mm-hmm. Y'all don't want that to come back around on you.
Right.
Absolutely. Be one, man. I'm gonna drop down. Have a good one.
You too. Hey, Jonathan, it looks like you are currently in a public transportation, so I can't bring you up just yet. If you get into a position where you're not in public transportation, then I'll let you on, and you because you know how that goes. But next up, and also Don P, I can't bring you up because it says that your mic and cam is not connected either. So next, I'm gonna bring up AW1. What's going on?
Oh yeah, hey Torian. Man, I think a lot of us on this panel just now just said it all, man. And then you going back and forth with these with them idiots on there.
I felt. Listen, I usually don't do it, but on
Right.
that day, I felt compelled. I don't know. My petty bone was tingling that day, as you can see by some of the responses. As you can see by some of the responses that I was given, I'm still stuck on a woman bringing up OJ. She said this is payback for OJ. What?
OJ? Wait, what does OJ do with this?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because they had been holding a grudge with OJ since the 90s, and we all, I mean, if you was there, or even if you didn't hear, but like weren't there, you heard about
I was born 87.
They had a gripe, an axe to grind with that one ever since then. So I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I wasn't watching OJ. I didn't watch the OJ trial too much. I was playing Nintendo, going outside, or watching cartoons. But you talk about not letting it go. That's well over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. But yeah, they talk about us not letting stuff. We're talking about recent stuff. Oh, let go of the past. Let go of the past. And then like with the DUI stuff in schools, they're trying to erase the history of slavery. It's not about us. It's not about you being victim. It's about, we don't want to, or something. I don't know. But you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. They want to erase it because look, and when it comes to racism, the reason why black people can't be racist, see, the only thing that gets hurt is their feelings. That just shows you how petty a lot of these people are. We take a lot of crap and then some. Like now, we're just told to get over it, move on. And then I'm gonna say one more thing. I'm gonna go. Speaking of jackasses, I know you heard of that guy from that Fresh and Fit show. Yeah, he's on this rant.
Yeah, listen. I already know exactly what you're talking about before you even go into detail. I already heard it. I saw it. It's like it gets to the point where I almost get tired of talking about this person, but at the same time, I look at the engagement that I get every time I talk about him. I said, the man literally he
breaks your ratings.
He is a money magnet for the people that talk about him that can make money off of him, because he can't make money off of his own name. Like, I mean, this has to be one of the biggest crash outs ever that I have ever seen, and that's all. And he's going to continue to do it until he actually gets checked. I won't actually say how, but when he actually does get checked, then maybe he'll get the point. I'm not holding my breath, but the day that actually happens, I think that the person who did it is probably going to get the key to the city.
I will say that. Well, yeah, I'll say this too. Just remember, Mr. Manly Man, Mr. King of all men. He be the same one to argue. Will have all the smoke for women face to face, but when a man's there, he's got a bunch of guys around him. Not to mention, he's got a gun on him. Mm-hmm. I'm a George Zimmerman, your ass. I'm thinking, wow, you really trying to get? I mean, he's a clout chaser. He obviously is.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, I'm gonna drop down now, man. You keep doing your thing, Torian.
You too. Thank you for coming up. All right, shout out to you. All right, Jonathan, you are up next.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Hold on. Yeah, I saw the story that you're doing again. And first thing I want to say is, why is every time when a black person is down from a chokehold or from someone's bare hands, it's always a fentanyl or it's always a drug or something?
Because they always associate drugs with black people. That's a tale as old as time. If they're not dealing the drugs, they are the drug users, and sometimes they might be doing both. and sometimes on their own supply. So they might be dealing their own and using their own when it's supposed to be selling it. So it's always that dichotomy thing of, oh, they just had to be this, because they got a whole laundry list, a whole jar full of stereotypes that has black people labeled on it, and they'll just pluck one or a few out of that jar to attach to that person to try to justify whatever happens to them, even if it had nothing to do with the situation at hand.
But if but the thing is, if now the tables will turn and a black person killed a white person or with a chokehold, same thing, their knee on neck or something, and we say the white person didn't die from that chokehold or a knee on the neck, they died from opioids. They're gonna be ready to go to war with us.
Mm-hmm.
They say, "Oh, are you freaking kidding me? He didn't die from opioids. He died from that chokehold." Oh, well, you want to say George Zimmerman and Jordan needed died off of drugs instead of chokehold? That's the most hypocritical race I've ever met. Like they just keep showing themselves every
Yeah.
time, bro. Like every time they make dumb comments, they reveal themselves every time. The more dumb they sound, the more uncomfortable
And
I'm
that's
around them.
And then that's the thing. They have to say something that does not make sense to the masses. It only has to make sense to them. As long as it makes sense to them, that's fine. They could care less if it sounds ridiculous to any of us, because that just sounds crazy. But to them, whatever makes them feel good at the time, that is what they're going to run with. Like with Ashley Babbitt, they felt that the officer murdered her, even though we know that wasn't the case and what she did was wrong. They say they went to go take a tour. How does a tour turn into a break-in? That's not how that works. They said that Kyle Rittenhouse was doing what he was doing, but we saw something different. They said Derek Chauvin didn't do what he did to George Floyd, even though the world saw what he did for 9 minutes. But as long as their delusion makes sense to them, that's all that matters. But if it's
I mean,
something that doesn't make if it doesn't make sense to us, they could care less. But also, Jonathan, I don't mean to cut you off like so soon, but try to wrap up your point a little bit, because I actually have KG on and he has to get on before he has to go back to work.
no problem, bro. B1.
All right, B1, appreciate you coming up. All right, shout out to Jonathan. I didn't mean to rush you off, but KG did say he had to get back he had to step out for this, and I wanted him to come up and make this point. All right, KG, you up?
They must really want to have their numbers really drop, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, let me tell y'all something. And I know they claim they watching this case. They not watching this case. Y'all
They're
not.
not. They're definitely not. Not with comments like those.
Yeah, but it's again the surface level thinking. That's why the white vote gonna do them us all. You hear something real nice and you think that's it. Let me tell y'all something. I you know how Professor Blackstreet tell us to go get the power tools?
Yeah.
We don't even have to go that far. All you gotta do is get a nice knife, because what they're asking this judge to do, you're about to open Pandora's box you will never close in this country again. You know how they were running around for 4 years talking about civil war, civil war? Let
Mm-hmm.
this man get off. You just gave every minority group in this country, I'm talking about the ones that'll be eligible to stay, you just gave them the excuse to go after you. You say something wrong on a post, they gonna dox you. They gonna nice you. You go play on the street with them, yelling the N word, talking about, oh, the N word is just the word. Why you get upset? Okay, I'm glad you're gonna tell the doctor and nurse that while they trying to save your life. It's just a word. Y'all don't understand what you're doing. I'm from New York. We don't play that. You giving New Yorkers a reason. Y'all about to take this back to the 80s. And I've heard them stories. People were getting thrown off moving trains because somebody looked at them wrong. Good Samaritans do not exist in New York. You know who the Good Samaritans are? The people that leave the train and go into the next car.
That's
Those are the
exactly
Good
what I do.
Samaritans.
That's exactly what I do. Whenever it's something like that, or I'm on the train and it annoys me, I don't approach them about nothing. Even if something starts to pop off, the minute that train opens up, I get off of that one and I go right to the next one.
I'm gonna warn y'all right now. Hey, you folk, y'all are not the leaders. Y'all not real ones. I'm telling you right now. You let this man off, you about to deal with some real deleters. Y'all gonna think Chicago was bad? This is going, man, bruh. You're gonna have a bunch of Thanos running around New York looking for a reason. It ain't even just it ain't
Uh-oh.
they gonna go in there and rob your stores. They gonna go in there. They gonna knock out your wives. Y'all don't. I think they want the destruction. I think that's what it is.
You're probably right. After all, like I said, when it came to January 6th, they said they were going on a tour.
Okay, and what happened with January 6th?
They did everything except burn down the Capitol.
Okay, and people got deleted. People got awards. People got some time. I'm telling I'm telling you, these wannabe patriots and these adjacent patriots. I swear to God. Listen, okay, I'm gonna leave with this. I gotta go back and finish up these turkeys. You folk, if that judge says not guilty, I suggest y'all hire private security. All y'all going down. You think what happened on January 6th was bad? There will be riots in every one of these cities. Your neighborhoods will burn. They will throw you out of them gentrified neighborhoods you took away from black people. I promise you. This is not the flex you think it is. People tired. Yeah, we got Chauvin. Cool. We didn't get all them cops with Tyree Nichols. We tired. And them cops ain't gonna save. You know what them cops gonna do? They're gonna be on the corner. They're gonna be waiting for orders that'll never come. Keep playing. But maybe this is what y'all want. Okay. Y'all, you know what they say in that good book. I ain't finna preach on your thing because you might not be about that, but you know what verse I'm thinking about in the Bible. Y'all gonna learn. Let me go back to these churches.
KG, was that it? I guess so. But shout out to KG for coming up and dropping those gems the best way that he knew how. That's why I said I wanted him to come up, because he could really break down the repercussions of having this man walk. It's way more than what the comments I read are. It's more than them calling him a hero and all that. That's, first off, he's no hero. Let's just be real here. That's not heroic whatsoever. Not even close. All right, Don P, it looks like you got stuff together. What's going on? Don P, it looks like you just remuted yourself. You unmuted yourself and then you remuted yourself.
Yes, it look. You would wait till I get ready to get out the car. Oh my goodness, getting out the car with my bags. But I had to. I think the last time I was on here was this was the topic at hand.
Probably.
And yeah, because and the reason I came up was to lend my expertise. Um, in the state of California, you are, before you can do what Daniel Penny did, there are three requirements. One, you must be a peace officer in the state of California. Two, you must be certified in carotid restraint. That's the technical term, carotid restraint. And three, your first aid and CPR must be up to date, because if the situation goes sideways, you've got to be able to try to bring that person back. And so your certification has to be up to par. Now, also, unless your life or the life of another is in danger, and that's, imminent danger. So the person has a knife, the person has a
Hey Don P, if you're still talking, your connection went out.
Oh no, hold up.
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you perceive something like that, then you can put your hands on somebody. But other than that, you can't put your hands on anyone, and that's what makes it a criminal matter because you didn't have any justification, what they call probable cause. You had nothing, and even then, police have to have probable cause. People there, the citizen stuff, it's a little different. There's some elements in there, but you take great risk at doing, even like making a citizen's arrest. You take great risk at that because if you're wrong, they can sue you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can also go to jail for false imprisonment. If you make a move, however slight, that's kidnapping. So a lot of ramifications. So, like they were saying earlier, especially in New York, the real heroes are the ones that go to the next car. Because we got crazy people here in San Francisco and in the Bay Area that ride them trains too. So anyway, I'm gonna drop down, let somebody else come up. But good talking to you again, nephew.
No problem. Thanks for coming up. All right, and the last person we have is Stole Ancestors 1526.
And stuff.
Hey, what's going on?
So two things. One of the things is I'm going through, I really can't talk too much about it, but with these, I call them alolos. With these folks, my dad was killed on the train up in Oregon.
Okay.
My dad did not die from his injuries. He died from surgery. I can't go into detail about it, but if you go,
don't go into too much detail if you can't.
Right. If you go and Google it, TriMet in Portland, Oregon, and you can look at kind of what happened there. So I'm kind of going through that right now, and what the doctors had did during surgery and stuff like that. So with all this going on, it's like it has changed my whole perspective of everything. And I hate these folks. I hate the Mexicans and the Latinos. I hate them all because they were all involved in my dad's death. I hate every last one of them. I don't have nothing for them. I wish them hell for my dad's life was taken from me. And I didn't even get to say goodbye to my dad. I was told 3 days before my dad passed, and my dad passed January of this year. And I didn't even get a chance to get up there to say goodbye to him. I was called 3 days before, and I went through a whole lot of shit because because for some reason somebody sit up there and said that my dad didn't have any children, and it was all a money grab. And with that being said, the day before my dad died, I live in Texas. I live in Fort Worth, Texas. And before my dad died, I was called for me to make a decision to either keep my dad on life support until I got up there. It snowed here. The weather up there, they had a snowstorm, an ice storm, so they canceled all flights. Me and my husband, we were trying to figure out how can I get up there to see my dad before anything happened. And my dad died before I got there, and I was called to make a decision. Do I want to keep my dad on respirator and keep him alive until I got there? And I said no, because that's not what my dad wanted. So what is going on in this world right now is Judgment Day is going to come. And it's going to come for every last one of these motherfuckers. They took my father. My father was laying up in the hospital for a whole goddamn month. A whole fucking month. Nobody wasn't there. No one, not his sister, his brother, nobody, no cousins, nothing. And my dad died by himself. And what these doctors fucking did, karma is coming. The second thing I want to say is that I was listening to you when you said about OJ and how they sit up there and brought up OJ about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know OJ didn't kill Nicole playing B1.
B1, the Stoll ancestors for coming up, and also condolences to her dad. That's messed up that would actually happen like that. It's crazy because I actually have a cousin, or had a cousin, that unfortunately they went in for a routine surgery. And because the doctor hit one part of their body, they ended up dying right there on the table. Right there on the table. Crazy how exactly PD remains. Yeah, allegedly. Although I would definitely look at that Mark Furman, aka Mr. I Plead the Fifth. That man is as shady as they came when it came to that trial. Hardly nobody likes to bring him up, but that's another story for another day. But anyway, y'all, that is going to conclude today or this evening's live. I won't be going live again until Saturday. For those of you who don't know, I'm kicking off like a new segment called Sound Off Saturdays. I'll explain it a little bit more as the date gets closer, or even on the day. It's basically taking the place of Freestyle Friday, but I'm just gonna let people come up and just sound off of just about anything. It doesn't even have to necessarily be this. It could be about anything you want, but I'll go into more detail about that as time gets closer. And that'll be at 12 noon. That's gonna be a noon thing, and I'm trying to keep it to be like the last Saturday of the month, just like Freestyle Friday was with the Friday. With that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. For those of y'all who do celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving to you. Have fun, be with your family, eat well, and all of that good stuff. The next video will be coming on Friday at 10 a.m. as y'all already know. So be on the lookout for that. And with that being said, be safe and be one.